Hello everybody and welcome to Cause and Effect. Sorry we had a little technical difficulties, so we had to cut off and start anew. Anywho, this is going to be like a little middle part of this episode, but if you have missed the first episode, the first part of the episode, I really recommend that you go back and watch it before this, because we are going to start in the middle of a conversation. And when you have watched this part through, go on to the last part to summarize. Anywho, we were talking about Blanche Hill and the journal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not the Wall Street Journal, the Journal of Hoff.
Blanche Hill occupying Journal of Hoff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the advantages with playing Blanche Hill, obviously. The obvious advantage with playing, well, two parts as I see it, with playing Eiraile, which two surnames I don't know how to pronounce, are the special to untap other vampires. So, untapping, say, your praise 10 cap with 10 blood, and doing Freak Dive and doing Superior Spirit Marionette is very strong. Yeah. And the other part being that you're able to Auspex bounce, so you can build a deck that you don't have to use deflections for defense. I mean, you can use Auspex and have a bigger focus on Auspex in your crypt if you want to combine Salubris with some other clan or vampires.
She also has a presence on inferior. Does that matter at all?
Some, I'd say.
I'd like to answer about Isaac said. I actually don't think that that's like a big advantage with Eiraile, the fact that she has Auspex. Because if you play this deck, the Dominate, like where you want to dominate it a lot, you can use her special to untap your own vampires. Like you can untap a vampire with Dominate and still use only Dominate bounces. So I wouldn't say that Auspex is like a big advantage. You can get around that with her special.
That's really sneaky of you all.
Yeah. But something that I think we should talk about when we talked about like how Blanche Hill gets you blood. If you want to use Eiraile special, it costs blood actually, because you want the Freak Drive. In this deck with Eiraile, you include a bit more Freak Drives. The one Martin Major, the one we had up here, only has 3 Freak Drives. Eiraile deck, I played with 7 Freak Drives to be able to use a special, and that costs a lot. So, not only do you not get the hunt action blood that Blanche Hill gets, you actually pay more blood to use Eiraile special.
Yeah, but should that be a big problem if you have Heidelberg in play?
It might be, because either if you don't face any high caps, or if you have a bit of, or if you are a bit unlucky, like you don't have a Spirit Marionette in the narrow window where there actually is an untapped 10 cap, and stuff like that, you can end up in a situation where you actually don't get like the 10 to 15 extra blood that you usually get throughout the game with a Spirit Marionette deck. And if that happens, it can be an issue.
Yeah, and you can actually block the Spirit Marionette action as well. It costs... with Repulsion, you only need 2 intercept, so that's 1 Eyes of Argus, which is a really common card. So that can be blocked as well.
Yeah.
It's a bigger problem if you like use a lot of blood if you don't get the Spirit Marionette through.
Yeah. Should we talk about
Matthias?
Matthias? Yeah, he's like these two combined.
On steroids.
Okay. This ended up having my... Okay, let's go with it. Matthias.
You have to mention it anyway, because he's one of the stronger ones. Obviously, it's the all 3 superior part of him, and the perma intercept. So that allows you to make an even more defensive deck. So you can play a Ventrue Grinder, essentially, and put the Messiahs in. Or if you opt to go for the Auspex bounce defense, it fits very well with his intercept. So if you want to use Auspex for defense, I think Messiahs is the better choice. Because then you can wake, and then you have 1 permanent intercept, and then you can use Telepathic Missection inferior and Ice Vigors inferior. And then you have 3 intercept, or even and Icevirus intercepts inferior. Icevirus also 2 inch more intercept. So he fits a lot better with Ospec's part. And the other part of his special, the -1 bleed to Bali and Forest Set, actually nowadays do matter.
Yeah.
Because the Balis are kind of common, especially Cybele.
Yeah. Adam, any notes?
No. You can talk about the Necromancer. He gets some kind of synergy with a few, like Nagarius or Giovanni, if you like. I don't think that's so strong anymore. Like, I think that's the point actually Isaac brought up. Since the release of Gift of Sleep, that's not as strong anymore. Since it's better to combine him with Obfuscate, and Gift of Sleep is Albring Gift of Sleep. It's like a Obfuscate stealth card, as well as a Obeya stealth card. So I think, since the release of Gift of Sleep, the Necromancy Outferior is, doesn't matter anymore.
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on. So, this is kind of a steady deck, or well put together. You can probably see it for yourself when you look at the equip list. But what do you say were the key actions in this deck? Sucks.
Govern the Unaligned Superior and Spirit Magnet Superior. I'm not sure how Errol played this. I saw the finals, but I don't remember what he brought up first. But I guess that you bring out one of the 7 caps or the 8 cap first, and do Govern the Unaligned Superior, and start getting the usual Govern staircase going. Govern down, give me more guys up, Govern down again, bring more guys up, and then when you have 4 or 5 minutes, start experimenting, bleeding, control the table essentially.
Is it that of a big deal to bring out, like, should you always bring out Blanche as the second vampire, or should you wait? Doesn't matter.
This is what I think is counterintuitive with my description of the deck. It might be that case that you always bring out Blanche first, because the sooner you get the Salubri into play, or rather the superior Obeya minion into play, the easier and more opportunities you get to steal a vampire that just turned up from the uncontrolled region. And that is like the only reliable window of using superior Spirit Magnet, when they bring up new vampires and have them untapped for 1 turn. And then you can steal them and get their blood. Otherwise, they might have a tap for the rest of the game, or when they get to the most phase, they play Villain, and okay, you can steal 2 blood and waste an action for them, but it doesn't matter that much.
Hold on.
I think this is like a case of whether or not you're going for the long game or the short game. If you feel really threatened about something, then maybe you'll bring out Blanche first. But if you don't bring out a Govern superior minion out first, say Black Rosanna or Edward Neely or Owen Evans in this deck, you're gonna be so far behind minion-wise. You may be, for the duration of the game, you lost 2 minions from bring out Blanche Hill first. So that means, if you wanna really need to use Blanche Hill's like Spirit Marionette and Heidelberg, then maybe that's advantageous. But I think most of the time you wanna go for as many minions as you can and just use Spirit Marionette whenever, like, if you get the opportunity.
Yeah, not only the part that you get the vampires cheapers with Govern the Unaligned, it works as the crypt acceleration.
Yeah.
And the earlier you get it, the more actions you get in the end, when you compile all the actions throughout the game.
Yeah. Okay, so how about, I don't see any renewed vigor. Is that in game backlist?
There's no renewed vigors in this deck.
Yeah. Why not?
I guess if you want to make a really tight deck, really tight and focused, with this deck I'd waste renewed vigor also, because you actually really don't really need that blood that much. I think you can rely on Heidelberg, Castle Germany. If you use it every turn, either for stealing blood or moving blood around on your own vampires. You can have a constant pressure and keep bleeding. And I think Renewed Vigor mostly makes sense if you have a bigger capacity on your vampires.
I agree. Like if during like the later stages of the game, using your Spirit Magnet to get 3 blood, that's a lot for a deck like this. So like if you only get 2 or 3 blood, that's fine as well. You don't need to. I think we had Isaac disconnect.
Okay.
Actually, we had like the chat. We have crowdsourcing here. Randall Rootson mentions Milan Horseseed, which is like a really nice addition to a deck like this. He can untap others' vampires.
Okay. Yeah.
That's real nice. He can beat as well and can block rushes for like ally rushes.
Yeah.
He's like a nice minion overall. So this can be included as well in Spirit Magnet decks.
Are there any other like tricks that you can use to untap other guys' vampires?
I have to check up Recognition and Mobility. Yeah, you can use Recognition and Mobility to untap.
Yeah.
As well. I don't think that's strong.
No. My personal opinion is when you start making a deck that focus more on stealing other people's minions and such than bleeding or doing something that really outs. You lose.
Yeah, you should have like this. The advantage of stealing others' minions should come like
natural.
Yeah, like Mind Rape is a bleed action. Spirit Magnet is a bleed action. So it should be like you should have something else. Like and Irida special, that's only like circumstantial. It's not even like a big part. It's just nice if you can use it sometimes, but you would play Irida even without a special.
Yeah, you should just splash minion steal. You don't need to focus it too much. It's my personal experience.
Yeah, I actually agree.
I mean, how many times per game do you actually steal a minion? 2, maybe?
Yeah, most of the time. I don't think... yeah, exactly. If you do it once, that's a real game changer. And if the rest of the deck is focused on capitalizing on that one time, that's enough. You don't need to have so much of your deck devoted to sealing one more time if you can't do any like ousting actions or powerful mechanics other than stealing.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, is Isak back? No?
Yeah, he just needs to press join call.
Okay. Maybe he wants you to invite him. So we're...
Yeah, go ahead.
So I was wondering about Gran Madre di Italy. My Italian is horrible. Sorry. Any Italian viewers, I'm really sorry I raped your language. But can you tell me a little bit why is it in the deck? What does it do?
I would imagine it's only because of Top Dogs. This deck does not have any combat defense at all, so both the Scourge and Grand Madre, I am imagining it's against Top Dogs. And that might be some knowledge that Errol and or Martin had prior, that they thought they were going to beat Top Dogs. Because Grand Madre actually makes minions come out in play tapped. So I'll bring it up.
Yeah.
So it's really bad actually to have that in play unless there's a Top Dog player that you can have a post with it. So I'm imagining it's only for Top Dogs. Nothing like a big analysis to make that.
Okay. Cool. Let me see if I had anything else.
I'm back anyways. Did I miss anything important?
What did I say? Yeah, we said that Recognition Mobility is probably not worth it.
Yeah. We talked about how decks that specialize too much on stealing other people's minions usually lose because they're not specialized enough on winning.
Yeah, true. I got from the chat that someone is mentioning Milan.
Yeah, we talked about
you picked it up. So you guys are brothers, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry. continue. We want to entertain our audience, not my needs.
Of course. So, just quickly as a conclusion to this part, like, what are the situations that happens on a table when you sit down and you start playing this deck, Adam?
You actually don't get to steal as much as you think you will. Like, most of the time I play Spirit Marionette, I maybe get to use Spirit Marionette, like a Spirit Marionette combined with Dominate, I should say. I only get to Spirit Marionette like once, possibly twice, but then the second time it's not that good. It's like a bleed for 2 that you get 1 blood from, or something like that. So, be prepared to just think of it as like a tap bleed kind of deck that has stronger defensive capabilities than most tap bleed decks. I think that's like a good view to have of the deck and go into the game.
And you get a big advantage towards high cap decks.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing I'd like to mention about that is one of the strengths of Spirit Marionette is the heads up. Most bleed decks are kind of baddish in heads up, but this deck could really swing a heads up into your favor, because either you force your opponent not to bring up a new vampire for the duel, so they are with the same amount of vampire as they had before, or if they do bring up a new vampire in the heads up, and if it's a big-ish vampire, you get to steal that vampire and take his blood.
If you do have the Heidelberg Shuffle. It's not contested or fucked.
Yeah, of course. If you have 3 copies of it, and when you're heads up, you've probably gone through, with this deck, 50 to 60 cards.
Yeah.
So, I guess you have it in play, if it's not contested, of course.
Yeah.
I think you're rocking your camera, Isaac, or your leg.
I think it's my desk, actually, that's rocking.
Okay.
That's really... Okay. And of course, I don't know if we've mentioned this right out, but the ridiculous advantage of just taking someone who's up for blocking and sending and just bleeding with him is just ridiculous.
Yeah, you can't. You have to have 2 minions untapped to do the effect, and then you get a misdirection, and you're screwed anyway. So, yeah.
It's funny. Any other last thoughts on this type of deck?
Enough that I can think of right now.
It's incredibly weak against combat, I would say. That's the only thing. Well, not incredibly weak, but more weak than average.
Yeah, but you could use, and then it's a little less specialized, but you could use some sticks and put in some fortitude prevent. You
can do that. I think the deck gets too diluted. I think this deck works really well because of how it's constructed. If you include a lot of combat cards for combat defense or obedience or whatever, it gets a lot worse in what it does. It might win games every now and then, but if you're gonna face combat, I think you should choose something else. It's a good tournament deck, but if you want to play casual and you meet a lot of combat, you should.
Maybe not dominate deck, but if you do play anesthetic touch, you can survive ally combat.
Anesthetic touch? What's it do?
As a first strike and combat ends of the resolution. So you can use that to either, obviously if you're fighting potents, it's very, very strong, but if you face ally decks, because they usually only do close range combat, and you can use that to survive and bleed the deck out. But on the other hand, getting past unmasking with just staring at the one can be kind of difficult.
Yeah, of course. Okay, well, I think that let that be our parting words with this deck. It's very specialized. For the next part, we are going to talk about a weird deck. That's Salubri-decks, that's dating and doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing. It's so weird. I've seen this deck played, and I've seen the deck list. It still amazes me. And later on, of course, we're going to announce the winner of this week's challenge. And then we have a new, and we're gonna talk about the statistics of timing, and then we have a surprise for you guys. At the end, we have a new feature that will remain a surprise to the end of the show. Anyway, this is the end of part 1 of episode 5 and part 1.5 of episode 6 of Cause and Effect, the show about VTES. Check out part 2.